I definitely see a future wherein Muslims and Dalits should come together socially and politically. That is the need of the hour. You know, those days of sweet talk, wearing a skull cap or not wearing a skull cap, holding an iftar party, or sending some chadar to Khaja Gharib Nawaz Ajmer, or embracing a Muslim leader or giving him something like that. It's not going to work, because in this day and age, I have aspirations. I want to, to develop. I want to progress in life. So these are the issues that needs to be addressed. So secularism, but maybe I am the only communal politician in India now. So everyone is secular.
You took some time to decide, it was in the air that you would contest, but you kept saying that we haven't decided yet. You took some time to decide that. And even before you took that decision, there was chatter that you would end up benefiting BJP. Was that one of the considerations when you took that decision?
No, this is a completely wrong argument and wrong allegation to be made against me. Because I didn't contest in Delhi, still Congress was wiped out. I didn't contest in Jharkhand, Jammu Kashmir, Haryana, Congress lost. So this argument is completely wrong. I mean, I contested only 2 parliament seats. The BJP could win 280 parliament seats. So this is completely wrong argument. So that was not weighing down on us,
It was never a consideration?
No, not at all.
What were the things that made you decide?
The thing was, the first time we were contesting in Bihar, and so we first took a decision that we will contest in Simanchal. And the reason Simanchal, because the Purnia division in Bihar is the most backward region. And the empirical data is very clear. So we thought that, we should focus on Simanchal, on the upliftment of Simanchal, development of Simanchal. And we also said that on the lines of what in Karnataka you have this Hyderabad Karnataka region 371 regional development council that needs to be formed. So we just took that decision.
There are many, who say that your entry into Bihar is a vote division tactic on your part. What is your response to them?
No, see, my response to them is I have this NSSO data 64 to 72 round. Now, this cannot lie. You can add different meanings to my contest or not contesting elections. But this clearly shows that in the last 10 years or whatever, the economic or the economic index, education index, material well-being, health index is pathetic as far as Muslims and Dalits are concerned. And if you compare this with the 4 districts of Simanchal, the 4 districts are much worse. And then you compare Simanchal with the district of the Chief Minister Nitish Kumar, it is way ahead. So why such disparity is there? And the second thing is that the argument that is given is that no, if you contest, it will help BJP. Out of 24 seats in Simanchal, 13 BJP has already won. 13 MLAs are from BJP and 5 are from JDU. The third point is that another argument is given that, wherever Muslims are in large numbers, BJP has won. My question is, so where is the polarization happening? The polarization is happening the other way around. It is not within the Muslim community. And if that was the case, why is BJP winning then? So this is completely wrong argument, and this data itself is like a mirror to such people who claim that great development has been done in 10 years. No, nothing has happened. Things have gone bad from worse to bad. This is it. The more I read such data, the more questions arise in my mind. So it is completely wrong allegations to make against me.
Do you believe that Muslims and Dalits can be natural allies? And do you see a future in your alliance? I mean, can you have an alliance with, say, a party like the BSP?
I definitely see a future wherein Muslims and Dalits should come together socially and politically. That is the need of the hour. Because as far as their issues, their concerns, their problems, exploitations are concerned, it is very much the same. And that is what, my great intention or my great dream is, that Muslims and Dalits should come together. About your second part, I don't know, it is too early to answer that question.
You say that your main thing is sort of being anti-BJP. Now, in every state, there are regional forces. In UP, there's SP. There's left in Bengal. Lalu in Bihar, would strongly defined as representing the Muslim interests. They may not do it well, but they've been committed to that. So, what is different about your politics of representation? What do you tell them, your voters, that they don't say or that they cannot say? What do you tell the Muslim voter and what do you tell the Hindu voter?
No, I tell them, I show them, I make them understand about the kind of injustice which has happened in the rule of these parties. Today, newspapers have carried a report about a commission report of Muzaffarnagar. Now, that commission report says that the ruling party itself is involved, which uprooted 50,000 Muslims from one place, completely destroying their way of life. Despite being in power, despite having 60-odd Muslim MLAs, and none could stop it. The promises that they had made, they have not delivered on it. For the first time in India's history, independent history, that you don't have a single Muslim MP elected from Uttar Pradesh. But you have 5 members of one Yadava family from one party getting elected. You have 15 years of Lalu rule, but development on ground, or Mr. Nitish rule, this data which is there, where you have 42% literacy rate in Bihar. So these are the real issues, and unfortunately it is these political parties are not understanding the issues which the Muslim youth in particular wants them to be addressed. Those days of sweet talk, wearing a skull cap or not wearing a skull cap, holding an iftar party, or sending some chadar to Khaja Gharib Nawaz Ajmer, or embracing a Muslim leader or giving him something like that, it's not going to work, because in this day and age, I have aspirations. I want to, to develop. I want to progress in life. So these are the issues that needs to be addressed, including the security issue.
Minorities are facing a threat in this country under this present government?
Well, as far as I know, I have great, the constitution is very clear. You cannot threaten anyone in India. There should be rule of law. But the last 15 months, the statements that have been emanating from the ruling party, and the latest statement by the cultural minister about Muslims, that Kalam, despite being a Muslim, was a nationalist, it speaks volumes about the mindset and the approach of this government. And today's Prime Minister's speech about his welcome was given in Sanskrit. He says, if this was done in India, it was a secular issue. And how is reciting slokas in secularism a secular issue? Not giving reservations to backward communities in India, in Maharashtra, despite Bombay High Court giving reservation, is a secular issue. Saying Quran and Bible are not Atma of this nation is a secular issue. When the Prime Minister stood up in Parliament in his first speech and said that we got this power after 1200 saal ki gulami, that is a secular issue.
We carried a series of stories from Bihar saying that riots are going up there. Do you see something similar to Muzaffarnagar happening in Bihar as well?
No, see, your report of an Indian Express This in itself clearly shows the governance which the ruling party was practicing. How can you allow so many incidents to happen? One, two, you put an end to it. And this shows that what is your governance in last 10 years. And of course, there are forces who want to to polarize. And the RSS and the Sangh Parivar have mastered this art of having a localized conflict and controlling it there, then in there, and then so that it doesn't spreads everywhere. But the effect is there in terms of polarization. So what was Mr. Nitish Kumar's government doing? Why didn't they control it? When so many incidents had happened, and if you read the Express report, it's very similar, not different. This issue that happened, but so this in itself clearly shows how governance was there.
And do you think Nitish is secular?
Well, you see, if you follow the path of Nitish politics, when Bhagalpur riot happened, it was Jagannath Mishra who said in the parliament, he quoted the speech of Nitish in Lok Sabha, wherein Nitish said that it is the Ansari and the Sultans who were responsible for Bhagalpur riots. If you follow the political path of Mr. Nitish Kumar, he formed Samta Party. Mr. Shahabuddin joined him, CPM alliance. They lost badly. Then they joined BJP. That was a turning point wherein BJP started growing in Bihar. So when Godra happened, he was the railway minister. And he contested the 2009 elections, 5 elections with BJP. So as far as I am concerned, I don't see any difference between Narendra Modi or Advani or RSS or BJP. For me, they are the same. They are all ideological creatures. And take the recent example of Bhagalpur Riots Commission report. 2005 he came in power. It took him 10 years for a commission report to be given. And what does that commission report say? Nothing comes out of it. So secularism, but maybe I am the only communal politician in India now. So everyone is secular.